Hello and welcome to lesson 15 in our series on Active Record and Rails. Here we're looking at validations. Active Record allows us to use validation to decide what we allow in the database. So our example here validates title, company, presence true. So this checks that the title and the company are within our new create hash for our role, if we're creating a role. Other validations include presence true, acceptance true. Acceptance is a tick box checker. It checks if the tick box has been ticked. Validates associated, so that validates other models, linked models. Validates, which we've seen. Exclusion, so that it checks that some things are not included. Format, so it checks the format of the file. Inclusion, checking that some things are included. Length, checking the length of our input or attribute. Numericality, which can check that it's only integers. Absence, true, checking that it's not there. Uniqueness, which is checking that it is, as the name suggests, unique. Validates with is checking another sort of validation, and validates each. So Rails console allows us now to look at a new role. We've created a new role, but we haven't added any attributes. Everything is nil. So role.save, and that's false. There's rollback transaction. Role.errors.messages shows that user must exist, the title can't be blank, and the company can't be blank. So if we create a new role with those entrances, like title, company, position ID, and then we push that into the user.roles of our second user, then that will work as an addition to the database. So for our purposes, we're going to check for an email validation because we're going to make our own validator. So let's generate a migration, and we're going to add email to user. So we're adding an email column to our user table, and our change here is add column users. So for the users table, we're adding an email column with a string. So our validator now can be added to our user model, and we have validates email format true. Now email format is referring to our custom-made email format validator. We actually have put this in our concerns, but you can keep it in app validators and should actually be called email format validator. I had a bit of issue because I'd forgotten to put 2 colons there, and that was causing me errors for my validator. But here, this validator checks the email according to a regex and checks that it's not blank. If it is blank, then it adds to the errors the attribute itself and invalid email. So when we're checking the validator in the console, we can open our console and we can take a look at creating an email. But in this case, we're creating an email without any kind of @ sign or something.com, etc. at the end, which is the usual format of an email. So that will fail, and the errors show invalid email, which is our expected behavior. We can also try creating with a correct email format, and this will work. So we can see that that has committed the transaction. So our validator requires an email format, and validator gives control over what goes. Validators give control over what goes in the database.